Hello and welcome to this edition of Springboard. My name's Nick Bishop, and today we have a very brief scene where one of our board members receives a phone call. As you listen to the conversation, see past the chit-chat and ask yourself, what would you do if you were at the receiving end of the phone call? At the end of the clip, I'd encourage you to pause the video and to reflect on the conversation. And if you are the board member involved, identify the issues and the next steps.
Hello. Valerie speaking.
Hello, Valerie. It's June Saunders. Remember we served on the board together a couple of years back?
Yes, I remember now. Oh gosh, it's been a while since I saw you last. You moved on to Kuala Lumpur, didn't you?
Yes, we've been here about 18 months now. How have you been?
Oh, nothing much changes here.
If you want to see change, you should come and see KL. But anyway, that's not the reason I'm calling. Do you still serve on the board?
Yes, I do. Coming up for 5 years now. What's going on? How can I help?
I probably have no right to spread gossip, but I've been worried about something and I just needed to talk to you. Listen, you can't say anything, right? But I need to speak to you in confidence.
You know you can talk to me. What's going on?
Do you remember Mike Smith, the physical education teacher? He left a couple of years ago.
Yes. He was a bit of a strange character as I recall, but I didn't know him really. Just saw the way he was at the sports day and thought he was cheerful, but a bit of an oddball. Why?
Well, it's probably nothing, and I have no right to say anything. But I help out on the PTA here, and I was chatting with some of the other mums. Apparently Mike Smith was working at one of the other schools in KL, and rumor has it that he was fired, but I don't know if that's factually true. The social media's been in a bit of a frenzy here, saying that he had been making sexually explicit advances to a couple of the girls in the school. My daughter, Lizzie, has friends in that school, and they often compete against each other. Well, she said that it's true. And she said it wasn't the first time he had been caught. She said he was always a bit of a pervert, even back when he was there. She swears that he never touched her, but she said there was something dodgy going on and that's why he left. It's probably nothing, but now when I think back to my time on the board, I'm left wondering if we were told the full story. I guess I'm worried that as news of this gets out, maybe there are other cases in your school that might come forward.
Okay, so as a board member, maybe your blood ran a little bit cold when you heard the scene unfold. It's certainly not a scenario we really want to think of, which is exactly why we should think about it when it's calm and there's no pressure. Only through the process of unpacking a situation like this can you really test your child safeguarding and child protection policies and procedures. Obviously, much of the groundwork falls to the head of school and staff, but as a board, you still play a crucial role. On the one hand, it's the board's policies that will shape the work of the school and the staff. On the other, it's the responsibility that you shoulder as a board to monitor and evaluate the policies and factor in any financial or legal risk. And one way might be to run a scenario such as this with your whole board. So reflecting on the conversation that took place, you may have had any number of thoughts running through your head. On a personal level, you may have had your own children in the school, which would immediately trigger concerns about their safety now and certainly in the past. Now, the lady on the phone, June, had asked that she speak to you in confidence. Is this a situation that you will keep confidential? What guidelines do you have as a board about what discussions would remain confidential? The information that June shared with you was not something that she had first-hand information about, other than what her daughter had said. Therefore, this gets well and truly into the complex quagmire of what is fact and what is hearsay. Maybe this links to some policies that you have in school. For example, whether you accept anonymous information, or how you differentiate between a whistleblower and someone maybe that has a grievance but wishes to stay anonymous. This is not the same, but since you don't have first-hand accounts, you'd want to understand the significance that this information plays. And maybe you're wondering, if there are grounds for the allegations, then what may have occurred in your school a couple of years ago? This path may have led you to wonder if there are current or former students that were affected, and whether they'll be coming forward with their grievances as soon as the gossip spreads through the network. Where does that leave you morally and legally? Who do you involve in the discussions? How do you keep conversations like this confidential? Generally, under the law, someone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But in cases like this, people are often judged by the court of public opinion. Is Mike Smith potentially going to sue the school for defamation of character if you go ahead with an investigation 2 years after he left the school? Who would lead such an investigation? Do you have the technical capacity to lead an investigation of this significance? What obligations do you have to report any findings that may be uncovered? If there are current students that were affected, what counselling or support may be required for those students? How will information be shared, or not, in the wider community? And so our 1-minute conversation has probably been like a hand grenade in your board mindset, sending shrapnel or questions in all directions. This is a great roundtable exercise for the whole board and senior leadership to be involved with. You'll probably find that there are several pieces of the puzzle where information or insights are held by different people. It's a good test for your policies. How does your child safeguarding or child protection policy cover this scenario? Does it sufficiently give detail of the steps that would be required and the various considerations? What about your legal exposure? What about your communication policies or strategies for dealing with a critical event? Hopefully it was an interesting exercise for you. As always, if you want to get in touch, you can find me on www.internationalschoolboardtraining.com. Thank you.